We were all born with the innate power of knowing and wisdom within us. The challenge for many of us is that we were taught to seek answers externally instead of searching from within. And this is the reason why so many of us find ourselves going around in circles, searching for new ways, but could never find the way. The womanly way. It's not the way. It's not my way. But it is a pathway to support all of us returning back to self, reconnect with our inner wisdom through loving ourselves, knowing ourselves, and reconnecting with ourselves.
Tell me and be honest. Tell me, should I've known?
So we can start to find our own way as modern day women. Are you interested? Well, sit back, relax, and welcome to this amazing journey.
My name's Angela Wayne. All my friends call me Lala, so you're more than welcome. We're all friends here. Feel free to call me Lala. Where do I start? I was born in a tiny island called Taiwan, moved to New Zealand when I was 12, and I've been in Australia since 2007, when the first iPhone came out. Will spoke about the ego, and to me, I'm a very spiritual person, so I talk about it as the dark night of the soul. Who's heard of the concept? Yeah, a few of you? So you essentially went through the dark night, and you come out, and you essentially reborn from the other side. That was me. I went through what I called a quarter-life crisis in my 30s, and funny enough, right, the ego goes, that morphosis at the age of 30. I was, lost. I was 30. I ticked all the boxes. Who here's a box ticker in the room where you've got goals, you've got ambitions, you've got things, and everything's about ticking boxes? Surely, come on, engineers, we're all about ticking boxes, aren't we? Right? So I had a list. And in fact, before I turned 30, there was only one item missing on my list, which is a 6-figure salary. Right? I had the house, I had the marriage, I had the car, I had everything that I wanted. So I went up to my boss and I said, look, Steve, I'm about to turn 30 next week, and there's just one thing that I still need to tick off on that box. And he's like, what? I said, a 6-figure salary. And that's how I got my pay rise. So you want to talk about being bold and bold? That's the first part. But today I really want to talk to you guys about that component of finding yourself and finding safety. You know, what Will spoke about. When we are in a safe space, we can be at our best, right? And I really have to say, to have everything, it feels like it's safe and cushy, but sometimes it's not, because there are components that are missing. I just want to find out. So I've recently become a parent of baby George, who was 14 months yesterday. Who here's a parent in the room? Okay, fantastic. Who here as a parent, maybe in the last week or so, has conversations with other people and you talked about things like juggling or finding work-life balance? Or even when you're not a parent, right? Work-life balance, how often does that come up? Hands up? Yeah? But do you really believe in work-life balance? No? Do you believe you've achieved your work-life balance, or is it a bit of a juggling act? How often do you hear this thing about juggling, right? So for the past couple of weeks, I finally went home to New Zealand and visit my family after 5 years. I have moved house. I've had 2 last-minute projects put on me, and I had a project that really needed support. I felt like I was juggling, right? And I think this is one of those things in our world. We're continually in this rat race chasing something that we don't know and juggling all these things. But do we really know what we are here for? Do we really know what we're juggling for? What's the end goal? For me, that was my struggle at 30. I had all these things that I wanted, but I wasn't happy. I do my rat race, I earn my salary, my 6-figure salary that I've negotiated so creatively, and I go home, I was like, I don't know what this is all about. I was miserable. To a point where I went through a divorce, I changed jobs, and I had to beg my way back to the job that I had quit because I realized I made a mistake. And I went through rock bottom. And when I went through my divorce, all my friends are like, well, you're happy now, right? Because you left something that you're not happy about. But that was actually the worst point in my life, because I had to then deal with myself. How many of us have conversations in our head with ourselves and criticizing ourselves and having those critical moments? We've got all the hands up down the back with the ladies, right? How often do you make a mistake and then you just continue looping and you can't go to bed and you're like, what the fuck? I fucked up big time, right? That was me. I couldn't tell my parents. I didn't tell my parents. I didn't have any close friends around me. And that was really my dark night of the soul moment. And I swear to you, it wasn't pretty when you're living in a single apartment, 6-story high, next to a train station, and I stand on that balcony every day going, it would have been so much easier if I just jump off this balcony, right? It would have been so much easier. What kept me alive was my mum and dad who wasn't around me. The thought of me jumping off and then some random person would find me and then having to call my mum in New Zealand or my dad in Taiwan to say, we found your daughter and she's not alive. That was what kept me alive. And there's literally one day I had enough with, drinking at home and crying myself to sleep. I'm like, well, if I'm going to keep myself alive and this isn't going to work continually, what am I going to do about it? So I went to the event, a networking event. Thank God that I actually had network and connections back then. And the one discussion that we had that day was around how a decision can literally change our lives. It's a book called Fish. Highly recommend it. It's a HR book, far away from anything personal development ever. But it talks about how you have a choice. You get to make the decision on how you want your life to be. And for me, that was the turning point. From that moment onwards, I made a decision that I get to drive my life and I get to determine what it was like. Thank you. But it wasn't that easy though, right? I was 32 and I went through a lot of trial and error. And recently, I turned 40. Hence the shave, because I realized in my 30s, or my early 20s, my late 20s, early 30s, it was all about materialism. And I wanted to do something different. So I shaved my head, did a charity collection, donations, and we collected $3,111 for the Sydney Children Foundation. I'm not talking about this to say, hey, I'm great. But what I want you guys to know is there's something that I realized about safety. And it comes down to 3 important factors, and I call it my life pillars. These are the pillars that have supported me through everything. It changed my life, but also it's the foundation of all the things I do now. Will spoke about investing in himself, and this is exactly what it is, right? It's breaking it down to 3 really basic pillars, and I promise you at the end of today, I'll give you some examples of how that worked in my life, but also practical steps that you take home and literally action as of now. The first thing is called love me. Ooh, love me. I know engineers were like, what, are we talking about emotions and things? We are, but it's really more about self-acceptance, right? Understanding what are the things that you need to do physically, emotionally, and mentally to get you into the top of your games. It might be exercising, it might be meditating, it might even be doing some emotional work, it might be personal development. Whatever it is, what would it take for you to be in your top shape? Secondly, it's called understand me. How much do you really understand yourself? What are your strengths? What are you really here to do? And I'm an astrology geek, but I'm also I love personality tests, right? But there's two that I'm going to recommend to you guys today. One is called the Strength Finder, Gallup's Strength Finder. Essentially, it goes through a series of questions and it'll find out your top 5 strengths if you want to pay the bottom end of the price, or if you want to find out everything about yourself, you literally find out what are your top, I think 43 or 46 strengths ranked from top to bottom. And then there's a thing called a human design chart for the people that are more into the astrology and whatnot. But essentially what I'm saying is these are tools that you can use, but find out. Know yourself before you know anyone else, but also know yourself more than anyone else know you. I'm going to give you examples on how that actually works, okay? Finally, it's called connect with me. Connect with yourself spiritually. This is when I go into my woo-woo zone. But also, it's about community. Connect with your community. And most importantly, God, Spirit, Buddha, whatever you want to call it, right? Have some sort of spiritual connection. Whether if it's you're just meditating and you get downloads. I speak to ghosts in spirit and I channel information, that's what I do. But we all have our things, right? That's just something that grounds you. It may even mean you take your shoes off, stand on grass one day, and just allowing yourself to connect with nature. Trust me, if you're like, what the heck is this woman on about? Take your shoes off tomorrow, or on a dry day. I think it's gonna rain tomorrow, but take your shoes off, just lay on grass, stand on grass, and just really be with yourself. In those moments, that's the most precious thing you can give yourself. Have the time for yourself, right? I am very mindful, I only got 8 minutes left, so I'm going to speed up a little bit, and I promise you after this, you do get a speaking opportunity. So if you just listen patiently for this next moment. And what I want us to do or do together, right, I want you to experience what that's like. So I want you to just experience, there's going to be 2 scenarios. First of all, close your eyes if you can. And if you would love to, just imagine there are multiple balls juggling in the air. There could be work commitment, family commitment, kids, your mum and dad, all the things. And just imagine that the balls gets bigger and bigger and bigger and you're trying to catch them all. How does that feel? Stress? Anxiety? Pressure? Heaviness? Challenging? Fantastic. Okay, now open your eyes. I'm going to wipe away that that image because we don't like that, probably. Now close your eyes again for me. This time, I would love for you to, number 1, be silent. Number 2, take 1 deep breath in through your nose. Hold it for a second and breathe out through your mouth again. I'm going to do it 2 more times. Breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth. 1 more time, breathe in through your nose and now just imagine you're on one of those floaties, those big floaties. Pick one that you like. It might be a pink flamingo, that's for me. Imagining your favorite drink. On a sunny day, you're floating down a river stream. You've got a big net around you, and there's still balls of commitment, but this big net just catches everything, and you're just enjoying sipping your drink, your sunshine shining on you, enjoying the sun, your favorite music playing in the background, and just slowly floating down the river. Now, how does that feel? A bit more relaxed, perhaps? Okay, you can open your eyes now. That's the feeling when you tap into safety, security, right? Us as human beings, we are built to succeed, to thrive, when we feel safe and secure. And what our current environment around us at the moment is to create chaos. Which prevents us from tapping into our best. So what I found by tapping into these 3 areas in my life, just some recent things that I have created that has helped me. The shave, for example. I was petrified. My biggest fear is that I'm gonna look horrible and ugly when I shave my head and I have to live with it, right? But at the same time, I know that I've got a message to deliver. It's not just about collecting money for my 40th birthday. It's bigger than that. I was sick and tired of watching the coaching industry and females online thinking that self-acceptance is about wearing nothing or lingerie, showing our sexy self, and that's self-acceptance, right? For me, I started my business the womanly way on the side of what I do in construction because I want to empower women to step into their best version. And being naked and showing up of our pictures on the internet in lingerie, that's not our best version. That's not how I want my daughter or anyone that I know to live their best life. And I believe by me shaving my head, that's my best demonstration of how self-acceptance really should be. So out of the 3 areas, I tapped into love me, about self-acceptance. I had to put in a lot of work before that to really accept myself, going, you know what? Bold is good. Even now that my hair is growing funny, I look a bit funny, that's okay. It's just a phase. I'm still me. I'm okay. I don't care how you looked at me. I'm okay. And that's a lot of self-work, right? Thank you. And that took me 10 years. Okay, that's 10 years of personal development work, working through my shit, especially being a people pleaser that really want to get, confirmation from everybody that I'm okay. Understand me. I know my strength and I know my weakness. I know when I say that I'm going to do something and I say it to all of my friends and family and I put it on social media, I would do it because when I promise something, I would do it. So guess what I did? I not only announced it in social media that I'm going to do it, I recorded the whole thing live on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and on Instagram. Because I know if I tell people that I'm going to do it live and I did it live, I can't chicken out, right? Lastly, connect with me. I connected with myself, my highest vision, and go, what is the vision? What is the thing that's greater than me that I'm doing here? And this is to all the women in the room, but also men as well. For all of us, that's about service, that's about contribution. When we can tap into something greater than us, we get shit done, right? How many mums in the room, women in the room, when you know that you're doing this for your kids, for your family, you do whatever it takes, right? So that's the power of the system. Another really quick one, I had to move twice in 8 months. The first time around, it took me about 3 months to find a place. The second time around, 1 week. What's the difference? I tap into the 3 pillars and go, okay, let's tap into peace. Let's know what we want. Let's have confidence. And let's understand where my strength is. My strength is when I'm relaxed, I call in all the magic shit, believe it or not. And the difference was I was so stressed 8 months ago when I was looking for the first place, and it was just out of desperate, right? The second time around, I'm still desperate, but I'm like, you know what? It's this or better. Whatever the universe, God, source universe, whatever you want to call it, delivers to me, it's this or better. There's a reason for it. I'm just going to trust it. And I kid you not, went and saw a property on Wednesday, submit my application at 2 o'clock, 5 o'clock, we got the approval. Within a week from my landlord telling me that's what I need to do. Yes, a bit of woo-woo, a bit of magic, but this is my own testament. This is a system that has worked for me for the past 10 years, and this is what I am supporting women or men that comes into my field that needed some support to create magic in their own life. So I promise I will give you some practical steps in a minute. Okay, that's why I've got my notes, otherwise I'll forget, right? Okay, rushing through it. So first thing, Physical, mind, emotional. Make sure you have an honest conversation with yourself about what is it that you really need to be your best. Daily practices, journaling, meditation, put your feet on grass, even just breathing. That 3 breaths that we took, how good was that? Do that once in the morning, once at night, right? Just anything that will calm your nervous system. Also have time for yourself. Like Will said, invest in yourself, but also have time for yourself. In this modern day, we're always surrounded by people. But when you can be with yourself, I don't care what you do, you might want to take a bath, you might want to have your favorite meal, you might want to have a glass of wine, but use that to reflect. Right? That would be, even if you just do it like 2 minutes a day or 2 minutes a week, whenever you've got time. Like, I've got my son, I know, for me, it's like the 1 minute before I fall asleep, I literally lay in bed, and sometimes I did it, sometimes I'm gone like that, right? But those are the most precious moments that you build on day in, day out. Find a mentor. I have had multiple mentors throughout the past 10 years. They're all different, they come and go depending on the phase. But those are people who, like my mentor checked in with me this morning. I've been chickening out. I'm like, I don't want to catch up with my mentor because I haven't done anything. But what she does is to tell me to stop being a chicken. When I had to shave my head, my mentor's like, good on you, right? It's those little things, having someone there in your court that supports you. We don't always find that. I was talking to one of my colleagues today, and her biggest struggle is that there's no one to share what she wants to do, and there's no one to share those discussions. So find a mentor, find a community. Things like Radius of like-minded people that could support you when you're down, that would cheer for you when you're up. They're rare, but make sure when you find the right group, cherish them. It's like, seriously, friendships are hard to find. Strength Finder, Human Design, those are my tools. You know, find out all the things about yourself. Like I said, know yourself more than anyone else, because you are your biggest asset, right? When you invest in something, do you just go, yeah, I'm just going to invest in it? No, you understand it. So make it your biggest investment to understand yourself. Have I got everything? Okay. And once you've achieved all that, my suggestion would be do whatever you take, find a side hustle, find an investment that will make you extra money. Because that is going to boost your comfort zone so you feel safe. Then you can start creating all the magic that you can. Did you know that in the US they did a study during the last recession? So really all they needed, out of all of the individuals that went bankrupt and declared bankrupt, all they needed was an extra $800 a month. Imagine what a side hustle could do, right? It could literally do anything. Find out what you're passionate about, do something that you love so it doesn't become a chore. $800, that could literally be the difference between you thriving or be on survival mode. So that's all of me today. What I do want to offer for anyone in this room, just quote Radius. If you want to discover how you can go onto this path, how you can discover your 3 genius zones, tap into your pillars, a 30-minute free strategy session. So just grab my details and contact from Will, I guess, or email me on mywomanlyway@gmail.com, and I'm more than happy to have a chat.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Womanly Way. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this podcast if you feel aligned to do so. Or check out our post-show discussions on my Instagram page @The Womanly Way. See you next time.